Well, hey everybody, and welcome to MecKidz and the very first week of Strike a Pose. Let me show you how I feel about our new series. Did you see what I did there? I struck a pose. Now it's your turn. I want you to stand up with me. I'll give you some poses to strike. Oh, and moms and dads, snap some pictures of the best poses. And if you decide to share them, make sure you tag MecKidz and use the hashtag MecKidz@home so that we get to see their poses too. I hope you're standing up and ready. Strike a pose like you are the coolest family in the whole world. Nice job! Now strike a pose like you just heard the funniest joke ever. Way to go! Okay, strike a pose like you're eating a slice of anchovy pizza while being chased by a saxophone-playing T-Rex. Now that is exactly what we're going to be doing to tell the next part of our big Bible story. And no, I don't mean eating anchovy pizza while running away from a jazzy T-Rex. I mean striking different poses. Here's how it's going to work. I have invited just a few of my friends to tell our big Bible story while striking some poses. Let's see how they did. Take it away, guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Isaac.
My name's Ari. My name's Talani.
And my name is Abby.
And we're the Look Here family. Today we'll be reading from the Bible, Luke 22.
And you can watch us for the poses you need to make during the story. Let's go.
At Easter, we heard the story of how Jesus was arrested and crucified. Well before Jesus was arrested, he had an interesting conversation with one of his disciples named Peter. Jesus told Peter, "The devil is going to make you turn away from me." Peter was shocked. He said, "No way, Jesus. I would go to jail or even die before I turn away from you." Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, Peter. Before the rooster crows in the morning, you will say you do not know me 3 times. Well, Jesus was arrested later that night by the Roman guards. Peter knew that if the guards saw him, he would arrest him too. So, carefully and quietly, he stayed hidden in the darkness and followed Jesus as they took him to the high priest's house. When they arrived, some people around campfire saw Peter. One of them said, "Hey, I think I recognize you. Aren't you with Jesus?" Suddenly, Peter felt scared. If he said he was with Jesus, he would get into trouble. So he said, "Jesus, I don't know that guy." A little while later, another person said, "No, you're one of Jesus' disciples, aren't you?" Peter replied, "No way, sir. I do not know the guy." Then someone else said to Peter, "You're from Galilee. That's where Jesus is from. You must be with him." This time, Peter accosted him and shouted, "I do not know what you're talking about. I do not know Jesus." Just as the last words had finished coming out of Peter's mouth, a rooster crowed. Right then, Peter remembered what Jesus has told him. "Before the rooster crows in the morning, you will say you do not know me 3 times. Peter burst into tears and ran away crying. He had messed up big time.
Wow, Peter messed up big time. Now that can't be the end of the story, can it? Let's see what happens next.
Hi everyone, we're the Davidson family, and this is John chapter 21 from the Bible. A short time after Jesus rose from the dead, some of his disciples were fishing on a boat. That night the disciples threw their nets into the water over and over, but every time they pulled them in, they were empty. Early the next morning, there was a man standing on the shore. He yelled out to the disciples, "Did you catch anything?" "No," the disciples yelled back. "Try throwing your nets on the other side of the boat. You'll catch some fish over there." The disciples didn't know who this guy was, but it couldn't hurt to try. So they threw their nets into the water on the other side of the boat. And when they tried to pull them in, they heaved and hove, but the nets wouldn't budge. They were so heavy from all of the fish they had caught, one of the disciples thought, "Wait a second, there's only one man who could do miracles. It's Jesus." When the disciples named Peter heard that, he was so excited that he dove into the water and swam to Jesus. When Peter got to the shore, he felt so excited. Jesus had been dead, but now he's alive. But then Peter felt ashamed. Before Jesus was killed on the cross, Peter pretended not to know him 3 times so that he could not get arrested. Jesus looked at Peter and asked him, "Do you love me?" "Yes, Lord. You know I love you," Peter said back. "Then feed my lambs," Jesus said to him. A second time, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" And the second time, Peter said back, "Yes, Lord. You know that I love you." A third time, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter realized he had denied knowing Jesus 3 times, and this was the 3rd time Jesus asked him if he loved him. So Peter said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus smiled at him and said, "Then feed my sheep." It was clear Jesus forgave Peter. When Jesus returned to heaven, Peter became the leader of the very first church. He even wrote part of the Bible. Even though he messed up big time, Jesus forgave Peter and used him to make a big difference in the world. The end.
Isn't that amazing? Even though Peter messed up big time, Jesus forgave him. And not only did Jesus forgive Peter, he gave Peter a huge job to do, to tell others about Jesus. And this time, Peter was up for the challenge. Let's take a few minutes to talk about this with your family. We'll put a couple questions up on the screen. Just go ahead, pause the video, and dig into those questions with your family. All right, now it's time to get moving. We've learned during the story of Peter and during this season of COVID-19 that God's church is so much more than just a building. It's a group of people who love and follow Jesus. But just for fun, let's go ahead and make a church building. All you're gonna need are graham crackers, frosting, and a knife or a popsicle stick. And hey, if you don't have any of those items, just take a quick look around your house for any sort of building supplies. Toothpicks, marshmallows, Legos, or Play-Doh, or maybe even blankets and pillows can work. Now you can work together as a team, or I always like a good old-fashioned competition to see who in your family can create the best church building. Now make sure that you take lots of pictures and tag us with the hashtag MecKidz@home. All right, pause the screen now and get to work. Wow, you guys just rocked that challenge. Wait a minute, what if they didn't? But what if they just sat there and stared at the screen the whole time? Okay, well either way, remember, the church is not a building. We are the church, and it's our job to build the church by inviting more people to come and join our community at Mec. Can you think of someone this week that you can tell about MecKidz? Well, before we go, I have one last really important thing to do. Worship, which just means telling God how awesome He is. Today, we are going to worship God through song and dance, and I have my friends from Crew to lead us. Take it away, Crew.
You spoke one word and the dark became light. I believe it, yeah. You spoke my name and my heart came to life. I believe it, yeah. I wanna sing about it, I wanna scream and shout it. I'm gonna sing it right now. At the top of my lungs I sing. With all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs I'll sing. With all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs. Yeah, at the top of my lungs. You're all I need every day in my life. I believe it, yeah. You're all I need, always here by my side. I believe it, it, I believe it, yeah. I wanna sing about it, I wanna scream and shout it, I wanna sing it right now. At the top of my lungs I'll sing, with all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason that I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs I'll sing, with all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason that I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs. Yeah, at the top of my lungs. At the top of my lungs. I'm gonna scream it, oh, I'm gonna shout it, I'm gonna sing it out. At the top of my lungs. I'm gonna scream it, oh, I'm gonna shout it, I'm gonna sing it right now. At the top of my lungs I'll sing, with all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason that I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs I'll sing, with all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason that I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs I'll sing, with all of my heart I will praise you. God, you are everything. You're the reason that I lift my voice. At the top of my lungs. At the top of my lungs. Yeah, at the top of my lungs.
I am so glad that you joined me today in MecKidz. Peter was still able to do big things for God because of Jesus' forgiveness. And it's the same for us. Even though we are not perfect and we mess up big time, Jesus forgives us, and he has a big job for us too, just like Peter. He wants us to build the church by telling others about him. So how can you share about God during a season of life filled with lockdowns and social distancing? It's simple. Just share this video or post pictures of your family doing the activity that we just did. Don't forget to tag MecKidz and use the hashtag MecKidsAtHome. You can even invite your friends to Mec online so that they can hear us talk about Jesus too. Well, you've got a big job this week, and you have an even bigger God who can help you tell others about him. I cannot wait to see you and all those friends you invite next week for another episode of Strike a Pose.